Well, I started off not in online payments at all. It was my first company after graduating was in brand marketing with British American Tobacco. I was in a global management trainee program. I loved marketing. I loved product marketing. So I joined companies like BAT and then went on to Unilever, did amazing brands, like Cornetto and Magnum ice cream. And then I moved on to Golden Village, which is a movie distribution. So that was my stint in brand marketing. But then I really wanted to go into more of the business side, like business development and sales. So I moved on to a consultancy firm called Mercer, and I was doing business development there. But I think my heart was set into online payments. Now, this must have been now about 8 years ago, where I looked at where online payments was going. I knew that it was going to revolutionize what the whole industry was going to go through. I wanted to be part of that. So I joined PayPal. And, I had no experience in online payments, neither did I have in finance or banking, but I knew I wanted to get into PayPal. I wanted to be part of where that company was going to go. So I got a sales position, never done sales before, joined PayPal as a sales manager, worked my way up from being a sales manager, heading a sales team, towards being a country manager. And then I moved on to Braintree, which is an acquisition company that they bought, which is a payment gateway. Started up the team there, right? Flourished the business in APAC. And then now I'm in a more mid-sized company called ECOMMPAY, also in online payments. I just have a very strong passion for online payments, right? And advocating e-commerce, actually. I really truly believe in this synergistic balance between business and technology, helping especially smaller merchants to be able to flourish and do something with not only brick and mortar, but going online and selling to other markets. So that's me. So you're right with the pandemic happening to globally, right? Basically, digital payments have actually flourished. It's actually accelerated, right? And with COVID has actually introduced long-lasting changes to the consumer behavior and digital adoption. So let me give you some examples here. Firstly, the move away from cash. Consumers were forced to shift online, right? And maybe you and I, we're the ones that, we buy stuff online anyway. But it was like older demographics, let's say the age 55 years and above, right? That didn't really know perhaps how to shop online, were forced to learn how to shop online now. But what happens there, it's a new segment that has come up, right? And a new segment that basically now merchants or businesses within online can target as well, but with a very different strategy. The other thing with digital payments is also it has heated up the whole discussion and acceptance with digital currencies, crypto, right? So you are hearing a lot of these big companies now accelerating either backing up crypto or acceptance of crypto. In payments, it was one of those cryptocurrencies. It's been around for quite a while, but for the longest time, regulators are very skeptical of it because you can't regulate. But I think now, because of the pandemic, the move away from cash, the digital adoption, etc., all these, it's the acceptance level has increased a lot now for crypto, digital currencies, right? And watch that space because it's going to accelerate even more now. Secondly, also, the buying behavior itself has evolved. What I mean by that is, before it's just going onto a website or going to a marketplace and you're buying it and that's it. But social commerce is flourishing. What is social commerce? It's actually using your multiple social media to sell, right? So it's not only messaging channels like WhatsApp or Line, but also Facebook Live, Instagram, TikTok, right? And all these different social media platforms, which means this also evolved to where online interaction and user contribution is key. So businesses in online space cannot only think about like your now what is called traditional way of selling. It is multiple sales channels that you have to reach consumers now. And I guess thirdly is, how do you expand, right? I mean, being in Singapore, for example, our market is very small. Being domestically, you only have what's the population, 5.5 million or something like that you can reach. So it's, where do you expand to? Of course, Southeast Asia, it's the natural choice first. You have, for example, Vietnam that is booming, which is meant to be like the next e-commerce boom is going to come from Vietnam. However, what I see is also businesses are expanding more to Europe versus the US. So why? It's because Asian businesses are also looking, where is the next maybe markets which are upcoming, right? And Europe, you have like the whole CIS region, a lot of these other markets which are opening up, whereas US, the barriers to entry for US is very high. So it's things like this which I see the difference when COVID has hit. People have to be a lot more creative for surviving, and that's what is called creative destruction. So my first job was in British American Tobacco, and I'd like to call it the big boys club because it is very male dominant. And being a female in this company means that I have to prove myself a lot more. But remember, this was in my younger days where I was probably finding it, finding where my footing is, like how much can I speak up, how much am I supposed to speak up as well, right? But what I've learned from there, and I guess because I have very good mentors, is to be able to have opinions, right? Have opinions and don't be afraid to push those opinions forward and come to the table. Sheryl Sandberg always says that, like, we all have a place on the table, and come to the table and say something about it, right? And I think, my early formative years being in companies like that actually taught me that if I don't speak up, if I'm not going to say anything or put my opinions forward, I will never get noticed. So I need to, right? That's one. The other thing is, from changing industries, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. I would say there is a lot to do with perseverance. Like, you have to persevere about like having a passion of what you're doing, that you very truly want to get that job. And I moved from marketing to more of a business development role into a sales role. I've never done hardcore sales before, right? So that was very uncomfortable. But I think the point here is, when you are uncomfortable or putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, is where you challenge yourself and find stuff out about yourself, which then you can make a decision on moving forward with those, right? If you never challenge yourself, never put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, we will never move forward. And that's where, like, these kind of things, I think, has made me grow into the person I am today. Firstly is have mentors, right? I have been lucky enough to have very good mentors, and my mentors are both male and female, because it gives me different perspective on different challenges and decisions that I have to make, right? And mentors doesn't have to be, CEO of companies or anything like that, right? Mentors can be someone that you can relate to, being able to, and neutral enough to give you advice on what they think. You take that advice and see what you can do with it. But I think if you're having good mentors shape you, especially in the career of where you want to go, because they motivate, inspire you as well, right? And the other thing is, I think, I mentioned it just before, right, that One of the learning is also about perseverance. Don't take no for an answer. And the fact of challenging yourself, if I've always had that where I need to challenge myself to do better, right? Acceptance is one thing, but challenge is the other thing. And marrying the both of them, accepting what you can't control is one thing, but basically challenging yourself because you know you can do a lot better or learn something new. And I'm not saying it's easy, but if you have that and could find a balance between the both, I feel that it is a life lesson, a long life lesson, and continuous learning is something that I live by with these two things in mind. And I think the passion bit is also very important. Having passion of what you're doing makes things easier, right? To be able to excel in it as well. I'm sure we've all had jobs or tasks that you're not passionate about, but you have to do, right? Half-heartedly, you're doing it just because you need to do it. But when you have a passion in something, right? Like you, Cash, you said you had a passion in doing technology, right? For me, same thing as well. Being involved in online payments on the tech part, automizing a lot of things that I thought it was manual work that tech could actually get involved in that. Then the mindset changes in terms of wanting to make it succeed. And then in turn, you will be succeeding in what you're doing and everything as well. I would say, like, on my own experience, I approach people that may not even been within my department, right? It could be someone totally different. And I don't think any mentor would say, or rather you would know it's a mentor, and you don't have to be such a formal kind of relationship that you become my mentor, but anyone that you approach and say, oh, I need some advice about something, will say no, right? I think it is the approach, and also if you are approaching someone that is maybe of a higher level, their time is precious. So it has to be a structured discussion, right? And also not about just having coffee and how are you, that kind of thing, but really structured discussion about what you want to discuss about. And it's got to be two-way as well. So it's what I hear from mentors is sometimes it's very draining because they want answers. But it's not about having answers. It's about just having your opinions and you basically formulate of what you think works well for you. Right. Another way to do it is you can also approach friends, right? Friends that maybe are in totally different industries altogether, because your same challenges or decisions that you're going to make within your role, it doesn't mean the other person hasn't done it. Maybe it's just a different way and a different vertical to do it. The other way is also joining networks, right? Like circle networks like LinkedIn, for example, they have it. They're very open about like maybe all the members there, and you can approach the different members, but with a goal in mind and an objective of what you want to get out from this relationship, and let that mentor know as well, right? And I think, sometimes it takes a couple of sessions to be able to find the right mentor. And I said, it has to be, the relationship has to be right. Doesn't always work, but I think if you are willing to try lots of different avenues, then you will be able to find it. And you find different mentors in different stages of life as well, by the way.